to meet you. I really happy when I have shown your name.
Good chance to meet you too, Hetal.
Ma'am, we are live now.
Is it Hetal or Hetal or? Yeah.
Okay. Hetal.
So welcome to another episode of Entab CampusCare EdTalks, an exclusive platform where we invite pioneers from the education industry to share their years of experience and insights with us. So before moving forward, let me introduce you to Entab. With an experience of more than 2 decades, Entab has been associated with over 1,500 schools across India, evolving them to become new-age digital campuses by providing them mature and futuristic ERP, CRM, and mobile apps. So in today's session, we'll discuss about practicing personalized learning in classrooms. We'll understand that how should schools prepare parameters for assessments for different students. We'll also learn that how can schools encourage independent learning. So let's begin by introducing our panelists for today. So please welcome Miss T. Kasturi Reddy, Principal and Academic Director, Kiran International School, Hyderabad. For her contribution to the field of education, ma'am has been awarded with a number of accolades, laurels and awards from Lions Club, the Paul Harris Award from the Rotary Club. So welcome to the show, ma'am.
So it's nice meeting you, Megha, and meeting Goel, Mrs. Goel, Principal of SJ Patel School of Gujarat. And it's a wonderful platform that we are here to share with. And thank you so much, Megha, for your nice words and for your warm and rousing welcome. And a good day to all of you, to the amazing and awesome audience, a very good day, and good day to my co-principal, Mrs. Hetal.
Thank you, ma'am. So next up, we have Miss Hetal Goel, Principal S.J. Patel, English Medium School, Gujarat. In her educational journey of more than 2 decades, ma'am has been conducting workshops, finding solutions, planning, managing, and motivating teachers and students. So welcome to the show, Hetal, ma'am.
Megha, it's a right and furnishing platform which we are meeting now. And especially, I'm very pleased to meet Kasturi ma'am, which she having the right knowledge about the educations, and which I will get something and will just share with somebody else. So I really oblige to you. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, Hetal ma'am. So moving on. So ma'am, in your opinion, has remote learning been more successful than physical classrooms in providing personalized learning? So Kasturi ma'am, what is your take on this?
At the outset, teaching as such, the best part of teaching is that it matters. The hardest part of teaching is that every moment matters every day. So coming to personalized education, education system which is not a system where it fits all, one size that fits all, one requirement that fits all, but it is something which is tailor-made, which has to be on one-on-one basis. And when we talk about personalized learning, the scenario in our present classrooms doesn't actually allow neither the taught nor the teacher to give this one-to-one attention and continue with the personalized learning. But then coming to school itself, for every student, it's a life skill. Every child learns, wake up on time, dress up on time, come to school on time. The kind of punctuality, the kind of discipline, all these. It's not just academics. It's not just the academic achievements. It's not just the academic goals, but it is the way children perceive things, understand things, go about learning things in the environment, and then adapt themselves to the environment. Basically, personalized learning can happen on one-to-one basis, provided classrooms are really very, very small. But in the present scenario, if it is online classes, maybe this can happen to a certain extent. But even here, the kind of rapport, the kind of interaction that actually happens between the teacher and the taught is missed out. So what actually happens is that physical touch, the physical ambience is lost. So children are lost in the lurch. They do not know. It's just not social distancing. It is just also social isolation. So children, they tend to, isolate themselves from the group, isolate themselves from their own family, isolate themselves from their own peer group. So it becomes very difficult in the long run. But definitely in the remote sense, I'm saying, if it is definitely online, it can happen in a better way when compared to if it is in the school scenario, classroom scenario, if it is a physical class.
Absolutely, ma'am. Rightly said. So moving on. So Hetal, ma'am, what is your take on this?
Mega, I agree with somehow Kasturi ma'am depicted to me, which is remote learning and physical classroom. This both have their own pros and cons. Remote learning, if we'll talk, there are some positivity also creates, which is self-learning happens. Completely, some students depending on teacher, it gets removed somehow. Breaching of the knowledge boundaries, it takes place somehow. Students will have their own perception. Now they create it. Quest of the knowledge, somehow in the classroom, textual based knowledge get bound. What teacher taught, students having the habit to believe, mostly students, okay, it is right. But now students learning their own selves, thinking their own way. So it can be possible that they think something new, which I experienced in this COVID-19. Now we're talking about the physical classroom teaching that I touched the sense of ma'am. She said that physical touch, the sound touch of the teacher to the students, it is somehow lacking. We can read the faces and we can understand the child in physical classroom, that is also lacking. So our traditional Indian culture, which is telling to us physical classroom, right, that we demanding, students demanding, but time demands something to us. We should go, we should active the path, and that is only the requirement of us. Thank you, Megha.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very well said. So moving on to the next question. So we agree that every student is different and requires things to be personalized, but ma'am, Kasturi ma'am, does the same thing goes on the parameters of assessment?
Assessment. Assessment basically is derived from the Latin word assidio, which means to sit with the learner. Here, the learner is the student, and educational scenario is the teacher. So when a teacher sits with the student, the teacher gets to know the nuances, the intricacies that are required for her to, see to it that the hiccups are, blocked, the obstacles are overcome. And also the teacher will have a first-hand understanding of the aspirations, the goals, the needs, the necessities, the requirements of that particular child, that individual child. Each child is unique. Each child has his or her own ambitions, her own aspirations. So it depends on the way things are perceived by these children. And when it goes to, assessment also, when we talk about assessments, assessments are basically mainly tests. So every test is an assessment, but every assessment is not a test. So there is a difference between an assessment and a test. So every test, whether it is an MCQ, whether it is a prepared test, or whether it is a test that was conducted extempore, whatever it may be, a test is different from an assessment. When we talk about assessment, all tests are assessments, but all assessments are not tests. When I talk about assessment, I say, like I'm observing a child, how the child is sitting, how the child is observing, what is the kind of attitude, what is the kind of aptitude that the child has, whether the child has got retention capacity, whether the child is focusing on child has got those requirements, or is there anything that is stumbling, any stumbling block which has to be addressed by the teacher so that these stumbling blocks can be totally curtailed or curbed. So when we talk about parameters of assessment, definitely we need to give different types of assessments, not just tests, but also observation, home assignments, wherein they can, come out with their best. I mean, their creative talents also. I mean, whether it is through painting, through collage work, through cutting down some newspaper cuttings which are relevant to the assignment, or project works, whatever it may be, any activity which helps the child to groom himself and to bloom fully well, that is what is required and that is the need of the hour. So it has to be, even assessments also should be tailor-made. Assessments also should be according to the needs of the child. That is what I feel. And that is where we need to see to it that the parameters of assessments are also tailor-made and not, in general.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very well said. So, Hetal, ma'am, what are your views on this?
Mega, I'm little bit just general talk about the assessment need to be reflect to you, which are nowadays assessing of the students by form-based typical kind of things, and we are giving them the results. Okay, but every students which your question telling me they are unique. They having different adapted skill. How can we assess them by the general similar one typical kind of examination system, right? So there I personally believe that requirements to reform some, it has been going on accordingly. One example I want to share with you, Megha, which is true. One of the child in the school good in horse riding, but not good in the class, not good in the academic, right? So many children, they are good in academic. Such, all the academicians, students got good marks. They are happy, but now the students adapting a very high and very qualified skill, horse riding, she is at all not happy by looking at the recent progress report. This kind of a differences create. I personally believe this equilibrium should be there, assessing the child according to their unique skill. There must require drastic reformation in the assessment system which we are following now in education. I hope so. Very further earlier, soon we are getting new NEP. I think there is written these things, and we all academicians would be happy with this all the things. Thank you, Megha.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, moving on to the end of the webinar. So, Kasturi ma'am, how can schools encourage independent learning so that students can know what they have to learn and can learn according to their own pace and interest?
Yeah, a very good question, Megha. In this context, I would like to tell each child is unique and each child's talents are unique. I mean, what is good for one child, what a child is good at, may not be the other child is good at. So a child may be very good at mathematics, but very weak in social studies, very good in literary, but very poor in something else. So it doesn't mean that just because this child has got some inhibitions about one particular subject or one particular area of learning, it doesn't mean that the child is not capable of learning. Child is definitely capable of learning, just as Hetal has just now mentioned about horse riding and some other abilities. So the cognitive abilities are required, and these will help us in understanding what the child actually requires. And here I would like to mention, it is not just is the learner who has to be interested. It is not just the teacher who has to be interested. It is both the ways. I mean, it is a two-way process. Both the teacher and the learner should both be determined, both be focused, both should have the common zeal and common goal to see to it that the target is achieved.
Right.
Now, and it's not just enough to have a good teacher. It is also good to have a good learner. Like I would like to take the example of Swami Vivekananda. When Swami Vivekananda was in Presidency College, Mr. William Hastie, the principal, was teaching English, Wordsworth's poem Excursion, and he had to chanced upon a word called trance, and he was trying to explain it to the students, and then Swami Vivekananda said, "What does trance mean?" So then William Hastie said that it is better you go to Dakshineshwar and meet a person called Ramakrishna, Paramahamsa, and then you will understand what trance is. And that is how Naren Datta, who is now called as Swami Vivekananda, happens to meet him and then understand what trance is, and then realizes the importance of a good guru. So the good guru, Ramakrishna, was able to get a good student, and that was how later on the Ramakrishna mission has spread, and it is because of this good student. So learning will always happen in a conducive environment, an environment which is helpful for the growth of the child and the growth of the teacher also. Teachers should adjust the classrooms in such a way that, arrange circular tables or tables which are close to one another, so that peer learning will also happen. We can also think of flipped classrooms where teacher can assign a particular role, a particular concept to the child, and the child will take all the freedom and the liberty to get thorough with the concept, get thorough with the topic. He analyzes the topic, he studies the topic, and then comes out with in a bolder manner, in a confident manner, and in a restructured manner to define what that concept is to the entire lot. And that is how child learns. So peer learning also will happen, and definitely the learning will also happen in a more systematic and organized fashion.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. So, Hetal, ma'am, what is your take on this?
Yeah, independent learning, which is your question, I think, how will in the learner as a student? Yeah. So for that, there are few points are very important. First of all, students nowadays they are feeling their independent learning. Okay, but connectivity with the students of the teacher and principal should be there. We should motivate activity based kind of a task we should provide them. Suddenly we are not going to tell them they are not doing well. We always accept the thought and work of the children in a right way. Second, freedom of senses must be there. Whatever they think, whatever they do, we should have the capability to accept it first. Right. Then reform if they did some kind of a mistake. Sound talk always right for them. It will counseling. Counseling is the first most important topic in my life, which I always grabbed in my school. And with this counseling of parent and students, I get to know so many things. I come my heart towards to them. I know everything about them, and it reflects to my work also. I can work better. This creates self-learner. Another part, Mega, if you're telling, self-learning happens everywhere. It's kind of not a thing that we should create self-learning. Right. We take the Elon Musk example. He read so many books at home. Now, what the position he is getting, right? He was not getting anything else from the school that he did this. Yes, of course, he did his own way. We should just ignite our children, ignite our teachers, and ignite ourselves, and we would become self-learner. So I personally believe that to becoming the self-learner to the children, students, counseling is the first and foremost matter for the school and for the academicians. Yes, Megha, this last questions I really appreciated. It's very nice questions, because nowadays every academician is doing this task. Even Kasturi ma'am also feeling the same things in the children, right? And all the three questions just enwrapped in a thing that time demands, we should follow. Time demands, we should adapt to the skill and we should work. We should not have a rigidity or in a static form that nothing. We just go the path. Path is on. We should equip and we should go. Thank you, Megha.
Absolutely, ma'am. So thank you so much, Hetal ma'am. Thank you so much, Kasturi ma'am, for sharing your valuable insights upon this beautiful topic. And it was great interacting with both of you. So thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Mega. Pleasure is ours.
Pleasure is ours.
And namaskar to all the audience, to the awesome audience, and a good day to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
At the end, I would like to say,
Yes.
what is this life if full of care, and we do not have time to stand instead?
Absolutely.
So basically, that is what we need to develop in every child. That curiosity, we should not kill that curiosity. That is something which has to be rekindled and reinforced and reiterated. With that, I end this wonderful talk, this wonderful platform, which helped us to come out with our experiences and our opinions.
Thank you so much, ma'am, Kasturi ma'am, Hetal ma'am. Thank you once again. And to all our thank you, ma'am. And to all our viewers who are watching us, if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe it for regular updates. Till then, stay happy, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.